Hi, welcome back to Your Prep Bestie, the podcast where we skip the gatekeeping and talk about what it really takes to step on stage for your competition. In today's episode, it's especially for those of you that think I'm ready to start prep, right? You might be in that phase and maybe you've got the Pinterest board, maybe you've already picked out your dream suit color, maybe you're just deep in cardio and overthinking everything. Wherever you're at, I got you. Because there are three things you need to know before you officially start your prep. And these things are usually what most don't think about until it's too late. So let's get into it. The first thing is to obviously have a realistic timeline to prep. It's not just 8 weeks, 12 weeks typically. I know that there are a lot of, plans floating around the internet to get stage ready in 8 or 12 weeks. But unless you're already someone who is lean, lifting consistently, eating a solid amount of food, it's going to be a recipe for stress and burnout otherwise. Most first-time competitors actually need 16 to 24 weeks of prep after they've already spent time reverse dieting or building their metabolism. I've had a client who came to me once wanting to prep in 10 weeks for a show. She was eating like 1,200 calories a day and doing cardio 6 times a week already. We actually paused her prep goals and spent, 4 months dieting before we actually started her official prep. She ended up eating more, doing less cardio, and spoiler alert, she placed. So this is because her body had the foundation it needed at that point. It had more fuel. It had less stress. She gave her body a chance to recover. So if you are already under eating and in a deficit right now, and you've been doing that for a while and you're not, seeing any results from that, your first step is not cutting more, it's building first and then prepping. So this leads me into my second point, which is pick the right show. Once your timeline is realistic, you've got to choose your show. And here's the thing, not all shows are created equal. So don't just pick the show that your gym friend is doing or whatever pops up first on Google. Instead, you should look at shows that give you, one, enough time to prep. They also are, whether or not it's the federation you want to compete in. So some are tested, some are not. So if that's important to you, make sure that you pick a federation that has a show within that. And also, don't be so set on that show that you get upset when you're not ready in time. Things happen. And so it's important to know that keep it as a possible goal, but don't be so set on it that if it doesn't happen in that timeline, be willing to adjust. Because the stage will always be there, regardless or not, if you are ready. But it's not worth being upset over if you're not ready and you just your body's not responding how you thought it would, right? So the other thing about picking a show is making sure that it's close enough that you don't have to travel across the country and adding unnecessary stress. Because of course, if you're traveling across the country, you're going to have a lot of travel stress as well. You want to minimize stress as much as possible throughout a prep. If you're not sure of which show to pick, of course, talk to a coach or hey, DM us and we'll give you our honest take. Now, number 3 is, of course, about posing. And this one is big. I say it with all the love in the world because bad posing will make or break it on stage. Every single time you could have a great physique, but you can tell when someone has not practiced enough. They're rushed, they're stiff, it doesn't flow together, and you can tell their confidence is not there on stage. They're not at ease, even if they are panicking inside. So here's the rule about posing is that you should start as soon as you are committed to competing. Even if you don't have a show date picked out, start practicing. Even if it's once a week, even if it's just your front pose in the mirror in your sports bra, get your body used to those movements now. Work on building that confidence because it matters. You don't want the first time you hit your routine to be on stage in front of a panel of judges and you're kind of like a deer in headlights because some people have been there. And posing is not just about muscle, it's actually about your presence, your poise, the power you hold on stage. And so the more that you practice and show up in that, it's going to show through every part of your prep. And, from your check ins to your training to show day, you have practiced that confidence over and over and over again to the point where it just feels natural to you, even though it's not natural at the beginning. So, with all of this being said, let's recap. Before you dive into your prep, one, make sure that your timeline is long enough and you're not starting from a deficit. Give yourself plenty of time. Number two is to pick a show that is the right fit for you, not just whatever you see that's trendy, right? And number three, treat posing like it is your second training session. Make a habit of every week to practice because it does matter that much. So, if any of those hit a nerve with you, it's okay. You're not behind. You're just learning, and that's what this podcast is about. You've got time, you've got options, and now you've got your prep bestie. If this episode helped you even feel a little bit more prepared, hit that follow button and send it to a gym bestie who's also thinking about competing. In the next episode, we'll break down the common posing mistakes that cost points and your placements, and also how to fix them before you even step on stage. But, however, until then, keep practicing, keep walking, and keep showing up.